Shalom. We read it, not the Torah. We read it from the prophets, the wisdom books and the Psalms. Can't forget about the gospel and the epistles and all the letters in the New Testament. This the new covenant, congregation of Israel. We authenticator, seeking out the lost sheep of the house of Yehuda, singing praises to Yahweh and his son Yeshua. Now all the men of Israel rise on up. We be say the commandments. Look, mama, no fringes. His mercy endures forever. Blessed to see another Sabbath, the Sabbath day of the week, where all his saints gather. Shabbat shalom, my brother. Shabbat shalom, my sister. This means peace on Yahweh's Sabbath. Shabbat shalom, Judah. Shabbat shalom, Yisrael. This means peace on Yahweh's Sabbath. Lead the world out there. Sisters, cover your hair. Brothers, gird your loin. Deacon, blow the ram's horn. Now sit back and listen. What the Spirit saying to the churches. Keep his commandments, law, statutes, and judgments. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verses 4 and 5. Whoever said the law was done away with Israel, they lied. What part of forever that they don't understand? As it is written, his saints will take the land. Now invite the angel that stand at the door to come in and sup with us, and us with him as we read out of this great legacy, the greatest love story ever told, more valuable than silver and gold. Many are called, but few are chose. Yahweh willing, we make it home. Shabbat shalom, my brother. Shabbat shalom, my sister. This means peace on Yahweh's Sabbath. Shabbat shalom, Judah. Shabbat shalom, Israel. This means peace on Yahweh's Sabbath. Shabbat shalom, my brother. Shabbat shalom, my sister. This means peace on Yahweh's Sabbath. Shabbat shalom, Judah. Shabbat shalom, Israel. This means peace on Yahweh's Sabbath. Shabbat shalom, my brother. Shabbat shalom, my sister. This means peace on Yahweh's Sabbath. Shabbat shalom, Judah. Shabbat shalom, Israel. This means peace on Yahweh's Sabbath. We read it, not the Torah. We read it from the prophets, the wisdom books and the Psalms. Can't forget about the gospel and the epistles and all the letters in the New Testament. This the new covenant, congregation of Israel. We authenticator, seeking out the lost sheep of the house of Yehuda, singing praises to Yahweh and his son Yeshua. Beyond the surface, beyond the surface, beyond the surface, beyond the surface. The prince of this wicked world, the god of confusion. Got black folk experiencing them strong delusions. Got ears that can't hear, mouths that won't speak, eyes that can't see that this curse is so deep. Deaf, dumb, and blind, commit sin / crime, repent, oh Israel. We're running out of precious time in the land where they saying Yahweh is dead, and you wondering why the innocent blood is shed. That's cause Satan's in the earth, he's walking to and fro, doing what he's told, being his status quo. Tempted man with pleasure and wickedness, denying the master, saying don't keep his commandments. Our wisdom and our knowledge in the sight of nations, but you love earthly riches than salvation. That means get safety from tribulation and wrath. The broad way leads to death, and narrow is the path. Preach the gospel, spread the good news. The son of Elohim, Yahshua, king of the Jews. Not king of the Christians, nothing they do Christ like. They criminals of Yahweh, outlaws in his sight. Same-sex marriage is okay with the president. That old serpent, the devil, is controlling the government. No prayer in the school system, no truth in the black churches. That's food in our neighborhoods, children killing with no mercy. Look beyond the surface and show yourself approved. Do your own research, seek the spirit of truth. Beyond the surface. Beyond the surface. Beyond the surface.
Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to the Beyond the Surface program. My name is Yosef ben Israel, and I'm the elder priest of the Cultural Center of the New Covenant Congregation of Israel. We're located at 3901A, Covington Highway, Indicator, Georgia, 30032. Our phone number is 404-286-5869. The website is www.thencci.org. Again, welcome to the Beyond the Surface program. Today's topic is, it is time to separate from white people. Again, the topic of this Beyond the Surface is, it is time to separate from white people. Now, if you watched this program before, you know you must have your Bibles out to follow along with what we're talking about today. Integration was the worst thing to happen to black Americans. White Americans have never wanted to integrate with black Americans. But the government forced them to not discriminate against black Americans. And so white Americans moved out of the cities and into the suburbs. But black Americans soon followed. Now we can understand the plight of white Americans. They just want to live among people that looks like them and practices the same culture. Everyone in America thinks that way, except black Americans. Black Americans have no culture of their own, and so they follow the people that made them Christians. But now Yahweh, through Yahshua HaMashiach, has opened our eyes to see that we have our own culture. And it is all written down in the Bible. And once we became obedient to what is written down in the Bible, we now realize that we must separate ourselves from white people and everyone else like everyone else does. But it is not out of hatred for white people. It is more that they have their ways and now we have ours. The children of Israel were commanded to stay away from the heathens. Let's start this off in Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 1 to verse 5. Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 1 to verse 5. It says, and when Yahweh thy Elohim shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it, and have cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites and the Girgashites and the Amorites and the Canaanites and the Perizzites and the Hivites and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou. And when Yahweh thy Elohim shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son, and nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son. For they will turn away thy son from following me, that they may serve other gods. So will the anger of Yahweh be kindled against you, and destroy thee suddenly. But thus shall you deal with them. You shall destroy their altars, and break down their images, and cut down their groves, and burn their graven images with fire. So again, we were to stay away from the people that surrounded us when we were in the land. These people here, we were not supposed to have anything to do with them. Now that's in the law. So now we know we must keep that law if we want to be a nation. Let's continue. Let's go to Jeremiah 10, verse 1 to verse 5. Jeremiah 10, verse 1 to verse 5. Hear you the word which Yahweh speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. For the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not. They are upright as a palm tree, but speak not. They must needs be born, because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither also is it in them to do good. Now, they're talking about a tree here, isn't it? So they worshiped trees back in biblical days. But what does this particular tree sound like today? Of course, it sounds like the Christmas tree. But again, back in these days, they worship trees as gods. So if you have a Christmas tree in your house, you have a God in your house. Now, I know you don't know that, but originally that's what it started out as, a god. That's why it says here, for they cannot do evil, neither also is it in them to do good, because it's a tree. A tree doesn't do any good or do any evil. But you bring one in your house every Christmas, and you put toys around that tree. And when you wake up Christmas morning, when your children wake up Christmas morning, you know what they do? They look at that tree and look at the gifts under the tree, and they bow down to it to pick up their gifts. Now, you made it a god yourself. But again, they worshiped different things back in these days, and trees was one of them. Let's go to Deuteronomy 12, verse 28 to verse 32. Deuteronomy 12, verse 28 to verse 32. Again, we were commanded not to hang around the heathens. This is Deuteronomy 12, verse 28 to verse 32. And it says, observe and hear all these words which I command thee, that it may go well with thee, and with thy children after thee forever, when thou doest that which is good and right in the sight of Yahweh thy Elohim. When Yahweh thy Elohim shall cut off the nations from before thee, whether thou goest to possess them, and thou succeedest them, and dwellest in their land, take heed to thyself that thou be not snared by following them, after that they be destroyed from before thee, and that you inquire not after their gods, saying, how did these nations serve their gods? Even so will I do likewise. Thou shalt not do so unto Yahweh thy Elohim, for every abomination to Yahweh, which he hateth, have they done unto their gods. For even their sons and their daughters they have burnt in the fire to their gods. What things soever I command you, observe to do it. Thou shalt not add thereto, nor diminish from it. So again, this is what black people are doing now, worshiping the white man's God. They ask white men, how do we worship your God? So Moshe is telling them, don't ask people that. Do not ask the heathen how do they worship their gods. Because that is what black Christians are doing now, and even black Muslims. How do you worship Allah? How do you worship JC? And who tells them that? The people that made it up. White Christians made up Christianity, and the Arabs made up Islam. Let's continue. Let's go to Leviticus 18, verse 22 to verse 30. Leviticus 18, verse 22 to verse 30. Let's look at what that says. Thou shalt not lie with mankind as with womankind, it is abomination. Neither shalt thou lie with any beast to defile thyself therewith. Neither shall any woman stand before a beast to lie down thereto. It is confusion. Defile not you yourselves in any of these things, but in all these the nations are defiled, which I cast out before you, and the land is defiled. Therefore I do visit the iniquity thereof upon it, and the land itself vomiteth out her inhabitants. You shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, and shall not commit any of these abominations, neither any of your own nation, nor any stranger that sojourneth among you. For all these abominations have the men of the land done, which were before you, and the land is defiled. That the land spew not you out also, when you defile it, as it spewed out the nations that were before you. For whosoever shall commit any of these abominations, even the soul that commit them shall be cut off from among their people. Therefore shall you keep mine ordinance, that you commit not any one of these abominable customs, which were committed before you, and that you defile not yourself therein. I am Yahweh thy Elohim. Yahweh your Elohim. So we have here strict instructions not to do as white people do. We are not supposed to do what the Africans do. We're not supposed to do anything that other nations do. We have our own culture right here telling us what is right and what is wrong. If you don't accept these laws and commandments, then you're not part of Israel. You're not the chosen people. You worshiping other people's God. Where is your God? I ask this over and over again. Where is your God? White folk know where their God is. The Arabs know where their God is. And the Indians know where their many gods are. Where is your God? You're worshiping the white man's God. Your God is written about in the Bible. His name is Yahweh. And you are the children of Israel. And we are commanded to be separate from all nations. We have our own culture right here. All you got to do is follow instructions. In other words, all you have to do is be obedient. And that's something that's hard for black people to do. Let's continue. White people love their idols, but our culture will not allow it. Look around America. You got idols and monuments to all the things that white people worship, including JC. Well, again, it's not allowed for us to worship idols. Let's see what the book says. Let's go to Exodus 20, verse 4 to verse 6. I mean, we're showing you why we are justified in not worshiping pictures of JC, like black people and white people do. This is Exodus 20, verse 4 to verse 6. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them nor serve them. For I, Yahweh thy Elohim, am a jealous Elohim, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy to thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. You have the love of God with you when you keep his commandments. You don't want the love of God? You want the love of the white man God? So you don't really have to take responsibility. You don't have to think about anything that's righteous. But here, in the Bible itself, it says, you should not make unto you any graven image. That means that cross you have around your neck, or the Star of David, or you flying a flag of the crescent moon and a star. Those are graven images. And you have them on you. I mean, this is for the nation, not for you. You have your ways already written down. All you got to do is do what it tells you to do. What is so hard about that? Well, the reason it's so hard about it is because that's why you're here. Because you figured that's just too hard to do. I have to have me a graven image. I have to be like the rest of the nations that I'm around. I have to do this. I cannot obey God. I cannot do what God says do. This is what you're saying. You'd rather do what white people do. What makes you think white people are right? Where did that come from? Let's go to Leviticus 26 and verse 1. Again, we're commanded not to have idols, whereas white folks are not commanded not to have idols. They can have all the idols that they want, but not us. This is Leviticus 26 and verse 1. You shall make you no idols, nor graven image, neither rear you up a standing image, neither shall you set up any image of stone in your land to bow down unto it, for I am Yahweh your Elohim. So we're commanded not to have idols in our land. America is not our land. It's not our land at all. America belongs to white people. They came over here and took it. And that's how you establish your own land. You take it from someone else, just like our father took it from the Canaanites and became the land of Israel. Same thing the white people did when they came to America. They took it from the Indians. You need your own land, black people. And guess what? According to the prophecies, you got to take your land back. So what's wrong with having your own land? You love it so much here in America that you can't imagine having your own land. This is the land of white people, not you. Let's continue. Let's go to Exodus 23, verse 20 to verse 24. We're reiterating why it is impossible for us to follow the law with white people, because they love their idols. And this is Leviticus 23, 20 to verse 24. Exodus 23, forgive me. It's Exodus 23, verse 20 to verse 24. Y'all forgive me for that. Exodus 23, verse 20 to verse 24. Verse 20, he that sacrifices unto any god save unto Yahweh only, he shall be utterly destroyed. Thou shalt neither vex a stranger. I lost some place. Exodus 20, I'm reading Exodus 22. Exodus 23 and verse 20 said, Behold, I send an angel before thee to keep thee in the way, and to bring thee into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. If thou shalt indeed obey his voice, and do all that I speak, then I will be an enemy to thine enemies, and an adversary unto thine adversaries. For mine angel shall go before thee, and bring thee in unto the Amorites, and the Hittites, and the Perizzites, and the Canaanites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites, and I will cut them off. Thou shalt not bow down to their gods, nor serve them, nor do after their works. But thou shalt utterly overthrow them, and quite break down their images. Okay, finally got that straight. Let's go to Exodus 34 and verse 10 to verse 17. Exodus 34, verse 10 to verse 17. And he said, Behold, I make a covenant before all thy people. I will do marvels such as have not been done in all the earth, nor in any nation. And all the people among you which thou art shall see the work of Yahweh, for it is a terrible thing that I will do with thee. Observe thou that which I command thee this day. Behold, I drive out before thee the Amorite, and the Canaanite, and the Hittite, and the Perizzite, and the Hivite, and the Jebusite. Take heed to thyself, lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land whither thou goest, lest it be for a snare in the midst of thee. But you shall destroy their altars, break their images, and cut down their groves, For thou shalt worship no other God, for Yahweh, whose name is jealous, is a jealous Elohim. Lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land, and they go a whoring after their gods, and do sacrifice unto their gods, and one call thee, and thou eat of his sacrifice, and thou take of their daughters unto thy sons, and their daughters go a whoring after their gods, and make thy son go a whoring after their gods. Thou shalt make thee no molten gods. See, we can't do what white people do. White people believe in idols. They believe in their cross. They believe everything that they have always believed in since they worship idols. Let's continue. White people believe that they can eat anything, but we have a dietary law. We cannot eat what white people eat. That's why we must separate from white people. Let's prove that. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 11, verse 1 to verse 12, and then we're going to pick it up at verse 44 to verse 47. Leviticus chapter 11, verse 1 to verse 12, and then 44 to verse 47. Look at what it says here. This is our dietary law. See, we have a special diet we have to eat. We can't eat what everybody else eats. And Yahweh spake unto Moshe and to Aaron, saying unto them, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, These are the beasts which you shall eat among all the beasts that are on the earth. Whatsoever part of the hoof is cloven-footed, and cheweth the cud among the beasts, that shall you eat. Nevertheless, these shall you not eat of them that chew the cud, or of them that divide the hoof. As the camel, I have seen white people eat camel, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof. He is unclean unto you. And the coney, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof, he is unclean unto you. Now that word coney is not normally, we don't normally use that word, but they are they are called hyrax, or rock rabbits, a small and furry animal. That's what a coney is. We don't eat those things. And the hare. Now, the translator did not have a correct word for the Hebrew word, so they put hare in there, because look at how it's described. Because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof, he is unclean unto you. A rabbit, a hare, does not have hooves. But that's the only word they could describe to show you what that is. And the swine, though he divide the hoof, and be cloven-footed, yet he cheweth not the cud, he is unclean to you. Of their flesh shall you not eat, and their carcass shall you not touch, they are unclean unto you. Now, white people can eat pork all day long. But when black people eat pork, they get high blood pressure, hypertension, and diabetes. And doctors tell black people to stop eating pork, but they got to keep eating it. These shall you eat of all that are in the waters. Whatsoever have fins and scales in the waters, in the seas, and in the rivers, them shall you eat. Cut and dry. Anything that has fins and scales, that's what you can eat. So that leaves out catfish, doesn't it? It leaves out shrimp. It leaves out lobster. We can't eat any of those things. We have to eat just regular fish that have fins and scales. Our catfish does not have scales. What these kinds of sea animals are garbage disposals. They clean the rivers. They clean the seas. You don't eat garbage. Do not eat catfish. Do not eat shrimp. Don't eat any of those things that don't have fins and scales. And all that have not fins and scales in the seas and in the rivers, of all that move in the waters, and of any living thing which is in the waters, they shall be an abomination unto you. They shall be an abomination unto you. You shall not eat of their flesh, but you shall have their carcasses in abomination. Whatsoever have no fins nor scales in the waters, that shall be an abomination unto you. Why? This is our dietary law. We have to keep this law if we want to be healthy. Now, it's bad enough they mess up the healthy food around here, But to go even pardon yourself even more, yeah, that's kind of backwards. Again, we're going to pick this up at verse 44 to verse 47. For I am Yahweh your Elohim. You shall therefore sanctify yourselves, and you shall be holy, for I am holy. Neither shall you defile yourselves with any manner of creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. Did you know you are holy people? Yes. You are a black people. You are a holy people. White people not holy. So why are you following them? You got the instructions of holiness right here. All you got to do is do what it tells you. Now, if you don't want to be holy, now you're going to make Yahweh mad at you. You don't want him to be mad at you. See, we have a very close relationship with Yahweh. And he's showing us what he wants us to do. Now, if you find that you can't do this, yeah, he's going to repay you to your face. Let me read verse 44 again. For I am Yahweh your Elohim. You shall therefore sanctify yourselves, and you shall be holy. For I am holy. Neither shall you defile yourself with any manner of creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. For I am Yahweh that bringeth you out of the land of Egypt to be your Elohim. You shall therefore be holy, for I am holy. This is the law of the beast, and of the fowl, and of every living creature that moveth in the waters, and of every creature that creepeth upon the earth, to make a difference between the unclean and the clean, and between the beast that may be eaten and the beast that may not be eaten. Cut and dry. That is our dietary law. Now, if you want to know more about our dietary law, let me invite you out to the Cultural Center of the New Covenant Congregation of Israel. Again, we're located at 3901A Covington Highway, Indicator, Georgia, 30032. Our phone number is 404-286-5869, and the website is www.thencci.org. We have a prophecy class every first day of the week, which is Sunday at 11 o'clock a.m. Come on out and join us and read out of the prophecies that are written about in the Bible. If you cannot join us in person, you can join us on Facebook and on YouTube. We also have a history class every third day of the week, which is Tuesday night at 8 o'clock p.m. Come on out and read about your history. This is your history here. Read about your history and learn who you are and where you came from. And if you cannot join us in person, you can join us on Facebook and on YouTube. We have a sisters only class every fifth day of the week, which is Thursday night at 8 o'clock p.m. You can join the sisters on Zoom. And lastly, we have a Sabbath service every seventh day of the week, which is Saturday at 1 o'clock p.m. Come on out and see what it is like to remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Now let's continue. Let's look at the book of Acts, chapter 10, verse 9 to verse 16. Now, this is much, much later in the history of our people. Let's see if they are still keeping the dietary law. This is Acts, chapter 10. Acts chapter 10, verse 9 to verse 16. On the morrow, as they went on their journey and drew nigh unto the city, Peter went up upon the housetop to pray about the 6th hour. And he became very hungry and would have eaten, but while they made ready, he fell into a trance and saw heaven open, and a certain vessel descending unto him, as it had been a great sheet knit at the four corners and let down to the earth, wherein were all manner of four-footed beasts of the earth, and wild beasts, and creeping things, and fowls of the air. And there came a voice to him, Rise, Peter, kill and eat. But Peter said, Not so, Adonai, for I have never eaten anything that is common or unclean. And the voice spake unto him again the second time, Will Elohim have cleansed that call not thou common? This was done 3 times, and the vessel was received up again into heaven. Now, Peter said, I've never eaten anything common or unclean. He was still keeping the dietary law. This is long after the Mashiach has been crucified and gone up into heaven. He's still keeping a dietary law. How do you explain that? Doesn't he know that he can eat pork chops now? Doesn't he know he can eat catfish? Like y'all black Christians do? Or hog maws? Pig feet? But Peter said, I've never eaten anything common or unclean. We just read what was common and unclean. He's still keeping the dietary law. This is Peter. Let's continue. Let's go to Ezekiel 4, verse 10 to verse 15. Ezekiel 4, verse 10 to verse 15. Let's look at that. Now, this is what Yahweh has his prophet doing. Look at what he says here. Ezekiel had to stand up like Peter did and say, I don't eat that. This is Ezekiel 4, verse 10 to verse 15. And he says, and thy meat which thou shalt eat shall be by weight 20 shekels a day. From time to time shalt thou eat it. Thou shalt drink also water by measure, the sixth part of a hin from time to time shalt thou drink. And thou shalt eat it as barley cakes, and thou shalt bake it with dung that cometh out of man in their sight. He told he got to eat man's dung. This is what Yahweh telling his prophet. Let's see how he responded to that. And Yahweh said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat the defiled bread among the Gentiles, where I will drive them. And that's what black people are doing. Then said I Adonai Elohim, behold, my soul have not been polluted, for from my youth up even till now have I not eaten of that which dieth of itself, or is torn in pieces, neither came that abominable flesh into my mouth. Then he said unto me, lo, I have given thee cow's dung for man's dung, and thou shalt prepare thy bread therewith. Okay. So I guess you got to hope that cow dung is dried up. Because it just turns to grass, that's all. So again, look at what Yahweh, you can contend with Yahweh. Say, yeah, your law says this, Yahweh. Why you have me doing that? So Yahweh understands. And that's why he told Peter, call not that which is that which I have cleansed, common unclean. Well, that sheep with all those unclean animals on them, that represented the Gentiles. The Gentiles were finally given an opportunity to have eternal life. That's what that whole vision was about. It's the Gentiles coming into the doors of eternal life. But they have to believe in Yahshua HaMashiach, or at least his name. But you Christians, you changed his name, didn't you? As if that's the same thing. So if your name is Bobby, and I called you Fred, would you say what? Would you acknowledge that I called you by your name? Your name is not Fred, your name is Bobby. But the same thing with the Messiah. His name is Yahshua, not JC. So you kind of mess yourself up, white people. And you messed up everybody else too, because black people love themselves some JC. Let's go to 1 Timothy chapter 4. Again, this is where y'all think y'all can eat anything. This is 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 1 to verse 5. So you don't understand what Paul is saying. This 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 1 to verse 5. Now the Spirit speaketh expressly that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils, speaking lies and hypocrisy, having their conscience seared with a hot iron, forbidding to marry, commanding to abstain from meats which Elohim have created to be received with thanksgiving of them which believe and know the truth. For every creature of Elohim is good, and nothing be refused, if it be received with thanksgiving. For it is sanctified by the word of Elohim and prayer. Now, you take those verses and say, well, yeah, see that? All we got to do is pray over it, and that pork becomes clean. That pork becomes beef. So why do you still get sick when you eat pork? Why do the doctors tell you stop eating pork? Because that praying over that meat is not going to clean it. Let me read this to you again so that you are clear what Paul is saying here. It says in verse 3, forbidden to marry and commanded to abstain from meats which Elohim have created to be received with thanksgiving of them which believe and know the truth. You Christians, you deny the truth. So you don't know the truth. So that's why you eat the wrong things. For every creature of Elohim is good and nothing to be refused if it be received with thanksgiving, for it is sanctified by the word of Elohim in prayer. Well, we already read the dietary law. That's sanctification of the meat. So if God says it's all right to eat these kinds of meats, then you don't have to worry about getting sick. See, understand, Paul is a Pharisee, which means he knows the law and the prophets. So he knew about the dietary law, but you misunderstand what Paul. Look at the background of Paul. So if Paul was an expert on the law, then he would have known about the dietary law. He wouldn't have put something in here saying, well, you can eat pork chops now. All you got to do is pray over it. Or you can eat chitlins. That's not what Paul is saying. He said to those that know the truth. If you deny the law and the prophets, the law and the commandments, that means you don't know the truth. Let me prove that to you. Let's go to Psalm 119. Let's see what the Bible says is the truth. Psalm 119 in verse 142, it says, thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is truth. This is the truth. He said the law is the truth. Let's drop down to verse 151. Psalm 119, verse 151. Thou art near, O Yahweh, and all thy commandments are true. So you say we don't have to keep the law or know the commandments. That means you don't know the truth. But Paul said those that know the truth. So you see where you're at? You don't know the truth because you don't keep the law. That's why you get sick and die. That's why they have to cut your legs off because of diabetes. We hear Yahweh's voice telling us that it is time to separate from white people and come home. Let's go to Isaiah 52, verse 9 to verse 12. Isaiah 52, verse 9 to verse 12. Let's look at what that says. Break forth into joy, sing together, you waste places of Jerusalem. For Yahweh hath comforted his people, he hath redeemed Jerusalem. Yahweh hath made bare his holy arm in the eyes of all the nations, and all the ends of the earth shall see the salvation of our Elohim. Depart ye, go you out from thence, touch no unclean thing, go you out of the midst of her, be you clean that bear the vessels of Yahweh, for you shall not go out with haste, nor go by flight, for Yahweh will go before you, and the God Elohim of Israel will be your rear guard. He said, you got to get up out of here. It's time to go home. Let's go to Isaiah 43, verse 1 to verse 8. Isaiah 43, verse 1 to verse 8. But now thus saith Yahweh that created thee, O Jacob, and he that formed thee, O Israel. Fear not, for I have redeemed thee. I have called thee by thy name, thou art mine. When thou passest through the waters, I will be with thee, and through the rivers they shall not overflow thee. When thou walkest through the fire, thou shalt not be burned, neither shall the flame kindle upon thee. For I am Yahweh, thy Elohim, the Holy One of Israel, thy Savior. I gave Egypt for thy ransom, and Ethiopia and Seba for thee. Since thou wast precious in my sight, thou hast been honorable. I have loved thee, therefore will I give men for thee, and people for thy life. Fear not, for I am with thee. I will bring thy seed from the east, and gather thee from the west. I will say to the north, give up, and to the south keep not back. Bring my sons from far, and my daughters from the ends of the earth, even everyone that is called by my name. For I have created him for my glory. I have formed him, yea, I have made him. Bring forth the blind people that have eyes, and the deaf that have ears. Again, we got to separate from white people because Yahweh is calling us back home. Let's go to Ezekiel 36, 6 to verse 8. Ezekiel 36, verse 6 to verse 8. Prophesy therefore concerning the land of Israel, and say unto the mountains, and to the hills, and to the rivers, and to the valleys, thus saith the Adonai Elohim, behold, I have spoken in my jealousy and in my fury, because you have borne the shame of the heathen. Therefore, thus saith the Adonai Elohim, I have lifted up mine hand, surely the heathen that are about you, they shall bear their shame. But you, O mountains of Israel, you shall shoot forth your branches and yield your fruit to my people of Israel, for they are at hand to come. They are at hand. It's almost time for them to get there. So he's telling the mountains and the rivers and everything in there to be prepared for the return of his people, which means the people over there in the land now, they're not the children of Israel. It's not talking about them. The children of Israel have not come home yet. Let's go to Deuteronomy 30, verse 1 to verse 10. Deuteronomy 30, verse 1 to verse 10. Now again, we have to separate from white people. It's not out of hatred. It's not out of anger. It's because we know who we are now. And we do not belong here in America. We've done our time. We fulfilled the prophecies and the curses that are written in the Bible. And now Yahweh's taking those curses off of us. And our sojourn here in America is over. We were not supposed to stay here. We were brought here, but we're not supposed to stay here. Let me read this to you. It says, this is Deuteronomy 30, verse 1 to verse 10. And it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse, which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations where the Yahweh thy Elohim have driven thee, and shall return unto Yahweh thy Elohim, and shall obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that then Yahweh thy Elohim will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations where the Yahweh thy Elohim have scattered thee. So when we read it, you got to read these curses in Deuteronomy 28, especially Deuteronomy 28 and verse 68. Listen to what it says here. And Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, and there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. Now, a bondman is a slave, and a bondwoman is a slave. Who else on earth has been brought to another land as slaves? So that's part of the curse. And so when we read Deuteronomy 30, we see that we're the only people that's been done to. So he said, if those curses come to mind, and you return to Yahweh with all your heart and your soul and your might, and keep his commandments, then he's going to pull us out of here and bring us back into the land. Let me finish this up. If any of thine be driven out unto the outmost parts of heaven, from thence will Yahweh thy Elohim gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee, and Yahweh thy Elohim will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it, and he will do thee good and multiply thee above thy fathers. And Yahweh thy Elohim will circumcise thine heart and the heart of thy seed, to love Yahweh thy Elohim with all thine heart, with all thy soul, that thou mayest live. And Yahweh thy Elohim will put all these curses upon thine enemies, and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. Who has been persecuted but us? And who has been hated but us? And thou shalt return and obey the voice of Yahweh, and do all his commandments which I command thee this day. And Yahweh thy Elohim will make thee plenteous in every work of thine hand, in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy land for good. For Yahweh will again rejoice over thee for good, as he rejoiced over thy fathers. If thou shalt hearken unto the voice of Yahweh thy Elohim, to keep his commandments and his statutes which are written in this book of the law, and if thou return unto Yahweh thy Elohim with all thine heart, with all thy soul. So that's what it's going to take for you to have your own land. See, once you start keeping these commandments, you cannot follow white people again, because they don't keep the commandments. They're not commanded to keep these commandments. They do what they want to do. And one of the things they were given to do was bring us from where we were over here to America as slaves, so that Deuteronomy 28 verse 68 could be fulfilled. So that's been fulfilled. And now it's time to go back home. Let's continue. Black Americans love white Americans more than they love themselves. Let me repeat that. Black Americans love white Americans more than they love themselves. Let's look at that. Let's go to Exodus 14 and see what kind of people black people come from. Exodus 14, verse 10 to verse 12. Exodus 14, verse 10 to verse 12. And when Pharaoh drew near, the children of Israel lifted up their eyes, and behold, the Egyptians marched after them, and they were so afraid. And the children of Israel cried out unto Yahweh. And they said unto Moshe, because there were no graves in Egypt, hast thou taken us away to die in the wilderness? Wherefore hast thou dealt thus with us, to carry us forth out of Egypt? Is not this the word that we did tell thee in Egypt, saying, let us alone, that we may serve the Egyptians? For it had been even better for us to serve the Egyptians than that we should die in the wilderness. Black people, they want to be around white people all the time, because they got all the goodies. Let's go to Numbers 14, verse 1 to verse 4. Numbers 14. So what the Bible is saying is that there's no new thing under the sun, because what black people are doing has been done before. This is Numbers 14, verse 1 to verse 4. And all the congregation lifted up their voice and cried, and the people wept that night. And all the children of Israel murmured against Moshe and against Aaron. And the whole congregation said unto them, would Elohim that we had died in the land of Egypt, or would Elohim we had died in this wilderness? And wherefore have Yahweh brought us unto this land to fall by the sword, that our wives and our children should be a prey? Were it not better for us to return into Egypt? And they said one to another, let us make a captain and let us return into Egypt. They wanted to be slaves again. They couldn't turn the Egyptians loose, just like black people can't turn white people loose. They love their white people. Let's go to Psalm 44, verse 11 through verse 16. Psalm 44, verse 11 to verse 16. Thou hast given us like sheep upon it for meat, and hast scattered us among the heathen. Thou settest thy people for naught, and does not increase thy wealth by their price. Thou makest us a reproach to our neighbors, and a scorn and a derision to them that are round about us. Thou makest us a byword among the heathen, a shaking of the head among the people. My confusion is continually before me, and the shame of my face hath covered me. For the voice of him that reproacheth and blasphemeth by reason of the enemy and avenger. So the fact that we love white people so much, black people love white people so much, they are a joke. You don't see anybody else on earth doing what black people do with white people. So they mock us. Say, you're not even a people. You want to be us. Black people want to be white people. And black people are white people, just in blackface. So what's up? I tell you what, I didn't put this down, but let me read something to you in Jeremiah chapter 2. Look at what Jeremiah said about black people. This is Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 13 and 14. For my people have committed two evils. They have forsaken me, the fountain of living waters, and have hewed them out cisterns, broken cisterns that can hold no water. Is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? Why is he spoiled? Yes, Israel is a homeborn slave here in America. And that's why it's so easy to get over on black people. They're homeborn slaves, right? Again, this is written in 629 BC. That's a pretty long time ago. You know, well, we're looking at over 2,000 years ago, and you haven't changed a bit. You are a homeborn slave. You cannot turn white people loose. You got to have white people around you. Let's go to Psalm 106, verse 28 to verse 30. Psalm 106, verse 28 to verse 30. They joined themselves also unto Baal Peor, and ate the sacrifices of the dead. Thus they provoked him to anger with their inventions, and the plague brake in upon them. Then stood up Phinehas and executed judgment, and so the plague was stayed. They were worshiping other gods in front of the pillar of cloud and the pillar of fire. And so, again, that's why black people are a joke. They don't have their own God. We got ours. Yahweh had mercy upon us and showed us himself and our fathers and his son in this one book, the Bible. Christians cannot read the Bible. I don't care if you're white or black. You can't read this Bible. Granted, white people do read the Bible more, and black people do not read the Bible at all. Because white Christians enjoy reading about us. Now, the only problem with that is that white Christians think that the people in the Bible are white. No, they are not. See what you're doing to white people. This is what you're doing. You're imitating our forefathers. But you got the imitation wrong. Because our fathers were the chosen people, not you. You made yourself the chosen people. But you can't find anywhere in here that God taught to white people. Nothing in here written that God taught to Christians. Nothing. And I challenge you to show me, where is it that God spoke to white people or spoke to people who call themselves white people? Show me that in the Bible. Because if you can't show it to me, then you've been lying for hundreds of years. The love of Yahweh for his people has not diminished. We are still his people. No matter what you say or what you do or what you call us, we are still the chosen people. And so Yahweh is separating us from white people. Not that, again, it's just that white people are not our people. The Africans are not our people. We are a nation of people. The Ten Commandments, that's not a religion. That's a covenant. Covenants are not religious. So, again, the Ten Commandments tell you what you should do and what you should not do. How is that religious? I don't hear you saying that the United States Constitution was a religious document, but it also tells you what you can and cannot do. So just read your Bible and see where you can find religion in it. Did Christ practice a religion? Did the disciples practice a religion? Now, you got some of those people that don't understand what the Bible is saying. Well, Christ practiced Judaism. No, he did not. And among his disciples, there was not one Pharisee, not one scribe, not one Sadducee. And those are the people that practice religion. I'm going to have to wrap it up. Thank you for joining us. Yahweh willing, we'll join with you again next week. Shabbat Shalom. Yahweh bless you and keep you.
Wow.